This man gets arrested for refusing to sell halal meat in the UK. Is that the whole story though? Probably not. Okay, let's set the scene on this video. There's a man in the UK, owns a restaurant, refuses to sell halal meat. On top of that, he has a little spray bottle which he's labelled that it has a sausage component to the spray bottle, which he's used as a repellent for those who are pro-halal, aka Muslim. So that's the scene. He ultimately gets arrested. Let's watch the video.
Fuck you! Arrest me again! I will not sell halal food! Listen to me!
You don't have to!
Tell them! I am not selling halal anymore!
This is new Sing sausage spray, 100% inbred repellent, just to please.
Okay.
You spraying this guy and several other people with some type of liquid. We don't know what it is. That is classed as an assault. As a result, we're going to take you in.
Okay, so the claim essentially from the police seems to be that we're not arresting you because you're refusing to sell halal meat, we're arresting you because you've sprayed an unknown substance at some strangers. And fine, if someone's going around spraying an unknown substance into people's faces, for sure that person should be stopped. Is that what this is? I mean, on the bottle it says Sing's sausage spray, 100% inbred repellent. Okay, so spicy language, contentious language, but he's spraying it around the entrance to his shop. Like, contextually, this is a joke. The problem here that I see is that this has escalated. This has escalated from a joke to intimidation to retaliation. And who has let this escalate? I would argue that the police have let this escalate. And that seems to be corroborated in these videos.
They have been asked to leave. They've said that they would like to protest outside. I've said as long as they do not stop patrons from coming in and out of your restaurant, that's absolutely fine. I can't stop them. Potentially, if they do cause any other issues, you just need to call us
So I
back.
can't leave the restaurant now because they protest.
They'll attack us. If
No,
they try to protect
that's
myself,
not
police
excuse.
will arrest me.
Right, so if when you go to leave, they are still outside, then by all means call us. We will come and we can help facilitate.
And if they follow us for home?
Is this we are living in jungle or where? Or we have to call police to leave my premises?
No, right, so the problem we have here, and I don't want to get into the ins and outs of it, but
Can I
essentially they're not happy with your restaurant policy.
Fuck them!
So they all the halal restaurant.
So we don't really know what happened, but you can definitely see that he's categorising this as they just want to protest. They're just outside the shop. As long as they're protesting, as long as they're not preventing people from entering your restaurant, then there's nothing we can do. I would call bollocks on this. If there's a group of people outside your restaurant, even if they're just standing there, they are preventing people from getting into the restaurant. It's clear, the fact that this is such an irate interaction, it's clear that this has already escalated. There's a group of people outside claiming to be protesting. Really, you can quite reasonably go, this is some sort of intimidation tactic. Let's move them on. That should have been where the problem was solved. But it wasn't. I think this is crazy that the police have just then gone, if it gets worse, you know, if you need to leave the shop and then your restaurant and they're not there, well then call us and we'll help when it's too late. So without knowing the full picture, you can very easily imagine that there's a gang of people outside his restaurant and somehow he's retaliated with this spray, whether or not that even happened, and that's the moment that the police go, okay, now we should intervene. They're cooked in the head. And there's a lot of videos showing that these were not necessarily the most peaceful of protesters. This is an example of what people are talking about when they say two-tier Kia, where there's a group of people hanging out outside a restaurant causing quite obvious intimidation and nothing happens to them, and a man uses a joke spray bottle, albeit you shouldn't be spraying people with anything, not even, by the way, sure that even happened, but let's say worst case scenario it did, he sprays them with the unknown substance that's clearly a joke from context, and he gets arrested? Because all I'm seeing is a group of people that have thrown their toys out of the pram, having a bit of a tantrum, and it's quite clear where the intervention should have occurred. I don't think you have to be a genius to see the escalation in this issue, see how it can go wrong very quickly, see at which point to intervene. The question for me is, why are they not intervening? Why are the police not policing? That's the issue I see. What I think is more interesting actually at this point to talk about is what is halal. I feel like a lot of people don't really know what halal is, and me as a soon-to-be vet, that's where I come in. So in the UK, we have a base level of animal welfare laws that say that you have to stun an animal, you've got to knock it out cold before you then slit its throat, so that it doesn't feel any pain when it dies and goes to slaughter. Fantastic. The problem is we then go, unless you're part of these religions. Now, most halal meat is actually stunned and then the animal's throat is slit. Great. But there is a significant percentage of meat that is non-stun halal. And so basically, the animal feels the pain of having its throat slit. This is obviously abhorrent. This is obviously one rule for me, one rule for thee. Religious freedom is great, but only until it reaches the law of the land. So if we've got a base level that we've accepted of animal welfare and animal law, you are free to practice your religion as long as it doesn't drop below what we've decided collectively in our country is the minimum standard. And I think that's the issue with non-stun halal, is that you get to have a different rule to everyone else in the country. Just because you believe some voodoo doesn't mean that you get special treatment at the expense of someone else. And in this case, it's at the expense of the animals that are conscious when their throats are slit. So that's the issue that I have with non-stun halal. And it's not necessary because a lot of the halal we manage to stun. But what does this mean in reality? So I've linked this survey down below if you want to read the full thing. But the summary is that about 30%, so close to a third of sheep in England and Wales are slaughtered without stunning. And that's because of halal. That's because of we're going to change the rules just because of this religious aspect that's a bit too difficult for us to deal with. I don't think that's right, personally, but what do you think? Let me know in the comments, what are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on the interaction and the arrest of this man? Was it correct? Was it not correct? What do you think about non-stun slaughter in general? Because I don't think this is a difficult issue mentally. I think this is just a difficult issue socially.